Our lunch is ready, so we're gonna go have this meat. And some of these pieces we will take.
Did you know the average American household throws away $1,800 worth of food yearly? Indigenous tribes worldwide have perfected food efficiency through centuries of survival wisdom. I've documented their most powerful money-saving techniques that transform foraged ingredients into gourmet meals without modern appliances. These 15 tribal cooking tricks will slash your grocery bills while connecting you to ancient culinary traditions that waste nothing. Step into an Indigenous kitchen and you'll witness a profound respect for ingredients that modern cooking has largely forgotten. When a deer is harvested or a garden is tended, nothing, absolutely nothing, goes to waste. This approach isn't just spiritual wisdom, it's practical economics that can transform your grocery budget. Have you ever tossed carrot tops, beet greens, or chicken carcasses into the trash? Those discarded parts contain some of the most nutritionally dense elements of your food. The broccoli stem you typically throw away actually contains more fibre than the florets everyone fights over. Those chicken livers gathering frost in your freezer? They pack 10 to 100 times more nutrients than the breast meat that costs 3 times as much. Traditional tribal cooks understand that using the entire plant or animal isn't just respectful, it's financially savvy. By incorporating whole ingredient cooking into your kitchen, you can reduce your food costs by a remarkable 25 to 30% without sacrificing flavour or nutrition. Consider the humble chicken. The organs become nutrient-dense pâté, and even the feet contribute valuable collagen to stocks and soups. Plant scraps follow the same pattern. Carrot tops make vibrant pesto, potato peels become crispy snacks, and celery leaves add depth to soups. One Indigenous technique involves creating perpetual broth, keeping a pot where vegetable trimmings and bones are continuously added, creating an ever-evolving flavour base for meals. Tribes across North America traditionally used every part of harvested animals, from rendering fat for cooking and preservation to tanning hides for clothing. Nothing was considered waste because everything had purpose. These practices didn't stem from scarcity alone, but from a deep understanding that abundance comes from respecting resources. Learning these whole ingredient techniques doesn't require special equipment, just a shift in perspective about what constitutes food. The beauty of this approach extends well beyond immediate meals into preservation methods that keep this abundance available through changing seasons. Preserving abundance is where tribal wisdom truly shines, turning temporary surpluses into lasting food security without a single watt of electricity. These ancient techniques don't just extend shelf life, they transform flavours and nutrition profiles while drastically cutting your grocery bills. Smoking, perhaps the most celebrated tribal preservation method, varies dramatically across Indigenous cultures. Did you know that different hardwoods create entirely different flavour profiles? Sun-drying stands as perhaps the simplest preservation technique, requiring only patience and understanding of your climate. Berries that might spoil within days can last months when properly dried. Meat cut thin and seasoned with salt becomes jerky that costs just $2 per pound to make versus $8 or more commercially. The key lies in temperature consistency and proper air circulation, techniques Indigenous peoples mastered through observation rather than thermometers. Fermentation might seem trendy now, but it's ancient technology that Indigenous cultures worldwide have employed for millennia. Lacto-fermented vegetables develop complex flavours while their nutritional value actually increases during the process. The beneficial bacteria that develop during fermentation support gut health in ways modern science is only beginning to understand. A simple clay pot fermentation system costs pennies yet produces living foods that would command premium prices at health food stores. The economic impact of these preservation skills is staggering. Temperature and humidity control represent the greatest challenges in preservation, but Indigenous cultures developed ingenious solutions without modern equipment. Underground storage pits maintain consistent temperatures naturally, while woven mats control airflow precisely enough for even the most delicate drying processes. While mastering preservation of cultivated or purchased food creates impressive savings, imagine eliminating much of your grocery bill entirely by knowing exactly which wild foods are freely available just outside your door. The wild buffet growing all around us represents some of the most overlooked free nutrition on the planet. What most people dismiss as weeds in their yards or call brush along hiking trails often contain more vitamins and minerals than anything in the produce section. Did you know that common purslane, that succulent-looking plant creeping along sidewalk cracks, contains more omega-3 fatty acids than many fish? A single cup provides over 400 milligrams of omega-3s, nutrition that would cost you $5 in supplement form. Indigenous foragers developed intimate knowledge of hundreds of edible plants, categorizing them by season, habitat, and preparation needs. The true magic of tribal foraging wisdom lies in timing. Traditional seasonal calendars track exactly when each plant reaches peak nutrition, when certain mushrooms emerge, and when wild fruits ripen. By following these natural cycles, experienced foragers harvest $20 to $50 worth of free food weekly during growing seasons, sometimes much more during peak abundance periods like berry season. Safety represents the cornerstone of Indigenous foraging education. Traditional knowledge emphasizes positive identification through multiple characteristics before harvesting anything. The rule, when in doubt, go without, has kept foragers safe for generations. Sustainable harvesting practices ensure continued abundance, never taking more than 1/3 of any stand of plants and leaving the healthiest specimens to reproduce. Even urban environments offer surprising foraging opportunities. City parks often contain edible landscaping, like service berries, crab apples, and nuts that drop unused to the ground. When these wild ingredients make their way into the cooking pot, tribal cultures rely on efficient, flavorful cooking methods that extract maximum nutrition while conserving precious fuel. One-pot meals that turn simple ingredients into complex, satisfying dishes without wasting a single resource. One-pot cooking represents the pinnacle of tribal culinary efficiency, where every drop of water, spark of fire, and moment of cooking time serves multiple purposes. These ancestral techniques don't just simplify cooking, they fundamentally transform humble ingredients into complex layered dishes while slashing your energy consumption by 15 to 20%. Have you ever noticed how much better soup tastes the second day? This melding of flavors principle forms the foundation of Indigenous one-pot cooking. Traditional clay pots, with their slightly porous surfaces, actually improve flavor development by allowing minimal moisture exchange while retaining heat remarkably well. Their rounded bottoms promote natural convection currents that distribute heat evenly without stirring, preventing scorching even over direct flames. Layer cooking, perfected by tribes from the Puebloan peoples to the Iroquois, arranges ingredients strategically within the cooking vessel. Stone boiling demonstrates ingenious resource conservation at its finest. Heating rocks in a fire, then transferring them directly into cooking vessels, provides intense, controlled heat without suspending pots over flames. Some coastal tribes could bring water to a rolling boil in wooden vessels without burning them using this method, a technique that seems almost magical until you understand the physics behind it. These methods translate perfectly to modern kitchens. Dutch ovens mimic traditional clay vessels, while slow cookers replicate the gentle, consistent heat of pit cooking. The fundamental principle remains the same, building flavors sequentially by first developing aromatics, then adding ingredients in order of cooking time required. The heart of this cooking style lies in understanding how flavors develop over time. While the cooking vessel and method provide the foundation, The true alchemy happens when indigenous knowledge of wild seasonings enters the equation, transforming ordinary ingredients into extraordinary meals using herbs, barks, and roots that most people walk past without a second glance. Wild ingredients whisper their secrets to those who know how to listen, offering flavour dimensions that synthetic seasonings simply cannot replicate. Indigenous cooks understand that the line between seasoning and medicine often blurs. The same juniper berries that flavour game meat also aid digestion, while wild mint both brightens dishes and soothes stomach ailments. This dual-purpose approach turns everyday cooking into a form of preventative healthcare. Have you ever noticed how expensive tiny jars of spices have become? By creating tribal-inspired blends using foraged or homegrown herbs, you can easily save $100 plus yearly while accessing fresher, more potent flavours. Wild sumac berries, with their bright lemony tang, provide acidity that would otherwise require citrus shipping thousands of miles. Perhaps the most surprising seasoning in many indigenous culinary traditions is ash. Not just any ash, but carefully produced culinary varieties from specific hardwoods, corn cobs, or even certain dried herbs. Native fish sauces along coastal regions, fermented berry compotes in forested areas, and seed pastes in desert communities all harness beneficial bacteria to develop profound umami flavours and preserve seasonal abundance simultaneously. The power of these natural seasonings lies in proper harvesting and storage techniques. Many wild herbs contain 3 to 5 times more essential oils than their cultivated counterparts, but these volatile compounds degrade quickly without proper handling. Traditional preservation methods like bundling herbs with stems attached or submerging them in fat or honey capture these fleeting compounds at their peak potency. A simple, all-purpose tribal-inspired seasoning combines dried sumac berries, white pine needles, wild onion, and salt. This blend costs merely cents to produce, yet adds remarkable complexity to everything from stews to grilled meats. The key lies in gathering each ingredient at its seasonal peak and processing it properly. Sumac harvested after the first frost provides the brightest flavour profile. While these wild seasonings dramatically transform simple ingredients, their magic reaches its full potential only when combined with the transformative power of fire, where temperature, smoke, and cooking technique combine to create flavour compounds impossible to achieve any other way. Fire transforms ingredients in ways no modern appliance can replicate, creating complex flavour compounds through a perfect marriage of heat, smoke, and time. Indigenous fire masters understand that the wood itself becomes an ingredient, hickory imparting a bold, bacon-like quality to foods, while applewood offers subtle sweetness, and alder contributes delicacy perfect for fish. This visual thermometer proves more reliable than many modern devices, connecting cooks directly to their heat source. Flame architecture, the strategic arrangement of coals and burning wood, creates multiple cooking environments within a single fire. Traditional cooks build heat gradients allowing simultaneous searing, roasting, and gentle warming across different areas. This technique eliminates the need for multiple appliances while creating a synchronized meal where everything finishes perfectly together. The chemistry happening during fire cooking explains why nothing tastes quite like flame-kiss food. When proteins and carbohydrates meet intense heat, Maillard reactions create hundreds of new flavour compounds impossible to generate in conventional ovens. Simultaneously, volatile compounds in the wood smoke attach themselves to food surfaces, penetrating gradually during cooking for depth impossible to replicate with liquid smoke or seasonings. Indigenous fire tending techniques demonstrate remarkable efficiency. The Dakota fire hole, a simple underground fire pit with air intake tunnel, burns with 60 to 70% less wood than open fires while concentrating heat precisely where needed. Similarly, raised platform cooking captures rising heat that would otherwise dissipate, allowing one fire to serve multiple purposes simultaneously. Safety protocols embedded in tribal fire cooking traditions emphasize site selection, clear overhead space, protected from wind, proper extinguishing methods, water plus stirring plus more water, and appropriate clothing, natural fibres that won't melt if sparked. While modern grilling often focuses exclusively on the fire itself, Indigenous cooking recognises that the vessel holding the food plays an equally crucial role in the final result, with traditional cultures developing ingenious cooking containers from materials readily available in their environments. Natural materials transform into extraordinary cooking vessels in the hands of Indigenous cooks, each designed perfectly for specific cooking methods. Traditional clay pots, unlike mass-produced alternatives, actually improve with age, developing seasoned surfaces that enhance flavour while containing no potentially harmful chemicals that can leach into food. A well-made clay pot becomes a family heirloom, often lasting generations when properly maintained. Have you ever noticed how different stews taste when cooked in different pots? This isn't imagination, it's chemistry. Properly seasoned clay vessels develop non-stick properties rivaling modern cookware without controversial synthetic coatings. Leaf cooking represents perhaps the most accessible, Indigenous cooking technique, wrapping food in large, pliable leaves before placing near fire or coals creates perfect steaming environments while imparting subtle flavours impossible to achieve otherwise. Banana leaves add tropical sweetness, corn husks contribute earthy corn flavour, and grape leaves provide tannic complexity. These biodegradable, free cooking containers break down naturally after use, creating zero waste. Stone cooking harnesses nature's original thermal batteries. Rocks with high mineral content, particularly basalt or soapstone, absorb heat slowly but release it with remarkable consistency. Indigenous cooks use heated stones in multiple ways, placing them inside cooking vessels for internal heat, using them as cooking surfaces for flatbreads, or creating enclosed stone ovens in pit arrangements. Laboratory testing confirms stones retain cooking temperatures 3 times longer than equivalent metal surfaces. Cooking stones require seasoning with natural oils before first use, building up a protective surface that prevents sticking. The heat retention differences between traditional and modern materials are striking. Tests show properly made clay cookware maintains cooking temperatures for 45 to 60 minutes after removal from heat, compared to 15 to 20 minutes for stainless steel. This extended cooking window perfectly complements the inexpensive, nutrient-dense staple foods that form the foundation of Indigenous diets worldwide. Increases available niacin, protein and calcium by an astonishing 750%. This simple technique prevented pellagra, a devastating nutritional deficiency in corn-dependent Indigenous communities for millennia before Western science identified the cause. The alchemy continues with strategic preparation methods that neutralize compounds which would otherwise block mineral absorption. Soaking activates enzymes that begin breaking down phytic acid in seeds, sprouting dramatically increases vitamin content, and fermenting creates beneficial bacteria that aid digestion. These techniques transform ordinary seeds into nutritional powerhouses while improving flavour. Indigenous grain combinations demonstrate remarkable nutritional wisdom. The classic 3 sisters planting of corn, beans and squash doesn't just work agriculturally. Together, they create complete protein profiles comparable to animal sources. Traditional combinations like amaranth and quinoa, wild rice and beans, or corn and tapari beans provide all essential amino acids for pennies per serving. The glycemic impact of properly prepared grains differs dramatically from their processed counterparts. traditional preparation methods maintain the integrity of complex carbohydrates and fibre, resulting in steady energy release rather than blood sugar spikes. Creating your own nixtamal requires just 3 ingredients: dried field corn, water and pickling lime, also known as calcium hydroxide. Simmer corn with the alkaline solution until skins loosen, then soak overnight. After thorough rinsing, the corn transforms into versatile masa for tortillas, tamales or porridge. This $1 worth of ingredients produces nutrition equivalent to $8 of commercially processed corn products. Seed saving represents another layer of indigenous wisdom. By selecting seeds from plants showing desirable traits, drought resistance, flavour, yield, traditional gardeners created varieties perfectly adapted to their microclimate. Proper storage in breathable containers with natural pest deterrents like bay leaves or diatomaceous earth ensures viability for years. The plant-based foundation of indigenous diets provides exceptional nutrition, but tribal cultures recognise the importance of balancing these foods with mindfully harvested animal proteins, obtained through methods designed for sustainability rather than maximum short-term yield. Sustainable protein harvesting represents the ethical counterbalance to plant foods in traditional tribal diets, following nature's rhythms rather than imposing human convenience. Indigenous hunters track seasonal patterns aligned perfectly with animal life cycles, hunting during peak health periods and avoiding reproductive seasons entirely. Have you ever noticed how modern hunting seasons often align with traditional tribal calendars? This timing reflects ancient wisdom about maintaining healthy wildlife populations. Unlike modern practices targeting trophy animals, traditional hunting often focuses on younger males or older animals, preserving breeding-age females and dominant males essential for genetic strength. Many tribes specifically targeted smaller, more abundant species like rabbits, squirrels, and medium-sized fish, recognizing that harvesting from lower trophic levels proves more energy efficient and sustainable than focusing on apex predators. Tribal fishing techniques demonstrate remarkable foresight in preserving aquatic ecosystems. Fish weirs and traps allowed smaller specimens to escape while capturing only what was needed. Strategic timing of fishing activities avoided spawning periods, and many tribes implemented their own conservation practices, closing certain waterways during crucial reproductive seasons, centuries before government regulations existed. Processing harvested animals follows strict waste minimisation protocols. Blood becomes nutritious additions to soups and stews. Organ meats are prioritised for their nutrient density. Bones yield both tools and rich broths, while hides transform into clothing and shelter. Even antlers, hooves and scales find purpose as tools or ceremonial items. This comprehensive usage honours the animal's sacrifice while maximising nutritional yield. Traditional fish preservation techniques allow protein storage without refrigeration. Cold smoking over specific woods, air drying in controlled environments, and fermentation create products that remain shelf-stable for months while developing complex flavours. These methods require only renewable resources and traditional knowledge, not electricity or commercial equipment. Modern practitioners of these sustainable harvesting techniques must navigate complex legal frameworks. While many Indigenous communities maintain special harvesting rights through treaties, non-tribal practitioners should research hunting seasons, fishing regulations, and trapping restrictions carefully. Some traditional techniques may require permits or modifications to comply with current laws. The animal proteins obtained through these sustainable methods rarely remain solely with the hunter's family. Instead, elaborate sharing systems ensured these valuable resources benefited the wider community, creating social bonds and food security networks that strengthen tribal resilience through collaborative cooking and distribution practices. Community forms the beating heart of Indigenous food systems, transforming individual effort into collective abundance. Step into a traditional tribal community during harvest time, and you'll witness cooking operations that resemble choreographed dances. Multiple fires burning, specialised tasks distributed efficiently, and resources multiplied through collaborative effort. The magic lies not just in the food itself, but in the social networks that ensure everyone receives nourishment. Have you noticed how much fuel and time you waste cooking single portions? Tribal cooking scales efficiently. Preparing food for 50 people requires perhaps 3 times the resources as cooking for 5, not 10 times. This economy of scale explains why Indigenous cultures worldwide developed communal cooking traditions for everything from harvest festivals to daily meals. A single large cooking fire saves 60 to 70% of the wood required for multiple household fires. Traditional food sharing follows sophisticated systems far beyond simple charity. Many tribes implement structured distribution networks, ensuring elders, children, and those unable to hunt or gather receive proper nutrition. The potlatch ceremonies of Pacific Northwest tribes, the Pueblo feast days, and Plains tribes' communal buffalo processing all demonstrate different approaches to the same principle. Food creates community resilience. Specialised cooking roles emerge naturally in communal settings. Certain individuals become experts in smoke management, others in proper fermentation timing, and still others in identifying peak ripeness. This specialisation raises overall food quality while allowing each person to develop deep expertise rather than superficial knowledge across many techniques. Modern adaptations of these principles yield impressive economic benefits. Neighbourhood cooking co-ops, where members take turns preparing large batches for multiple families, report average savings of 30% on food costs while reducing preparation time by 60%. The math proves compelling. Buying ingredients in bulk, eliminating duplicate purchases, and reducing energy usage translates directly to financial savings. Starting your own cooking collective requires minimal organisation. Begin with just 2 to 3 households, agree on dietary preferences and schedules, then expand gradually. Successful modern co-ops designate clear roles: shopper, prep cook, main cook, cleanup, and rotate responsibilities to prevent burnout. Many groups add recipe sharing components, creating collective wisdom reminiscent of tribal knowledge transmission. The ultimate efficiency of these communal systems stems from their seasonal alignment. Community meals shift naturally through the year, following abundance cycles that modern grocery store shoppers have largely forgotten how to recognise. Seasonal eating forms the original nutritional calendar, with Indigenous tribes developing intricate knowledge systems tracking exactly when each food reaches peak nutrition and abundance. These natural harvest calendars don't simply follow general seasons, but often break the year into much finer increments. The Cherokee recognise up to 18 distinct growing periods, each with specific harvesting priorities. Have you ever noticed how much sweeter carrots taste after the first frost, or how spring greens have a distinctive tender quality impossible to find any other time? The economic impact of seasonal eating proves substantial. Strawberries at peak season might cost $2 per pound, while the same berries shipped from another hemisphere during winter often reach $8 per pound with significantly less flavour and nutrition. By aligning your diet with natural abundance cycles, food costs drop by 30 to 40%, while quality improves dramatically. This approach transforms expensive foods like berries into affordable staples during their peak seasons. Perhaps most fascinating is how traditional diets shift macronutrient ratios throughout the year. Winter diets traditionally emphasized higher fat consumption, nuts, preserved meats, fatty fish, providing sustained energy and insulation, while summer brought more readily available carbohydrates from fruits and fresh starches. This natural cycling aligns perfectly with with the body's changing energy needs through seasonal temperature variations. Modern research increasingly validates the health benefits of these traditional patterns. Studies show seasonal eating dramatically increases gut microbiome diversity, each season introducing different beneficial bacteria that strengthen immune function and improve digestion. This contrasts sharply with the relatively static microbial exposure in year-round standardized diets. Adapting these principles to modern life starts with understanding your local growing seasons. Even urban environments exist within specific climate zones with natural abundance cycles. Northeastern regions might emphasize root vegetables and hearty greens in spring, berries and early vegetables in summer, tree fruits and squash in fall, and preserved foods plus greenhouse greens in winter. The key to maximum nutrition lies in timing preservation methods to capture peak ripeness. Traditional wisdom recognizes precise windows when foods contain optimal nutrient density before beginning to decline. Berries picked at perfect ripeness and immediately preserved retain significantly more antioxidants than those harvested early for commercial transport. Root vegetables stored in sand maintain optimal moisture levels, while apples surrounded by pine needles release natural ethylene gas inhibitors that slow ripening. Proper spacing prevents compression damage, while strategic placement keeps ethylene-producing foods separate from ethylene-sensitive varieties. Natural pest management incorporates plants with potent protective compounds. Bay leaves, tansy, and certain mints naturally repel insects, while dried hot peppers deter rodents without contaminating the stored food. These traditional deterrents effectively protect stored foods without introducing toxic chemicals into the food supply. Indigenous storage containers utilize materials with inherent preservation properties. Clay vessels with slight porosity maintain ideal humidity for grains. Tightly woven baskets allow minimal air exchange for certain vegetables, and rawhide containers develop sealed surfaces that protect dried foods from moisture. Each material serves specific preservation needs based on the food's requirements. Temperature and humidity management without modern technology relies on understanding microclimate creation. Elevated drying racks utilize airflow patterns in strategic locations, while semi-permeable coverings create humidity gradients ideal for different food types. The economic impact is substantial. Families implementing these storage methods report 400 to 600 annual savings through reduced electricity usage and dramatically decreased food waste. The ingenuity of these storage methods matches perfectly with another area where tribal wisdom shines, creating effective cooking tools from readily available materials that cost nothing yet. Perform tasks modern kitchen gadgets struggle to replicate. Natural materials transform into sophisticated kitchen tools in the hands of tribal craftspeople, with designs refined through centuries of daily use. Have you ever noticed how a hand-carved wooden spoon feels perfectly balanced compared to mass-produced alternatives? This ergonomic perfection comes from generations of subtle refinements, with each carver making micro-adjustments based on user feedback. Traditional wooden utensils, spoons with slightly asymmetrical bowls, spatulas with precisely angled edges, outperform their manufactured counterparts in both comfort and functionality. Creating basic wooden implements requires surprisingly minimal tools. A sharp knife, sandpaper, and food-safe oil are sufficient for beginners. The process starts with selecting appropriate woods. Fruit woods like cherry and apple resist splitting while imparting no flavours. Maple provides durability for heavy-use items, and pine should be avoided due to its resinous nature. Green wood carves more easily than seasoned wood, allowing smooth shaping before hardening during the drying process. Plant fibres showcase even more remarkable versatility. Flexible inner bark from basswood and similar trees weaves into sturdy strainers that capture even tiny particles while allowing liquids to flow freely. Tightly woven grass baskets become perfect steaming vessels when suspended over boiling water, while loosely woven structures create ideal drying racks that promote airflow around food items. Stone tools maintain cooking properties impossible to replicate with modern materials. Soapstone griddles heat slowly but maintain temperatures with remarkable consistency, perfect for delicate foods prone to burning. This precision timing explains why traditionally harvested herbs offer significantly more flavour impact per ounce than commercially available alternatives, often requiring just 1/3 the quantity for equal culinary effect. Proper drying techniques preserve these volatile compounds. Quick drying in well-ventilated shade maintains more essential oils than either sun-drying or overly slow methods. Many tribes bundle herbs stem side up initially, then invert them once partially dried, allowing essential oils to migrate into the leaves rather than evaporating. These methods preserve up to 90% of volatile compounds compared to 50 to 60% with conventional drying. Creating herb bundles for specific applications demonstrates remarkable sophistication. Cooking bundles combine flavour notes with preservative properties. Tea bundles balance medicinal and taste concerns, and smoking mixtures create distinctive regional flavour profiles while inhibiting specific spoilage organisms. The economic impact proves substantial. Equivalent commercial herb blends cost $15 to $25 compared to essentially free foraged alternatives. This herbal preservation knowledge forms part of Indigenous culture's broader commitment to utilising every available resource, part of comprehensive zero-waste food systems where nothing edible gets discarded and all byproducts find purpose. Zero-waste approaches represent the culmination of Indigenous food wisdom, creating closed-loop systems where the concept of trash simply doesn't exist. Traditional kitchens operate as perfectly balanced ecosystems where each process generates byproducts that become inputs for other essential household needs. Have you ever considered that potato peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds, items routinely tossed into modern trash bins, represent valuable resources rather than waste? Indigenous waste flow systems follow remarkably consistent patterns across cultures. Food preparation byproducts follow 3 primary pathways: direct reuse in cooking, bones to broth, stems to pickles, transformation into non-food items. Nutshells become scrubbing tools, large shells become utensils, or decomposition into soil amendments through traditional composting methods. This systematic approach eliminates the very concept of garbage while creating multiple use cycles for each resource. Traditional composting techniques accelerate decomposition without commercial activators or equipment. Layering nitrogen-rich materials, food scraps, with carbon-rich materials, dried leaves, small twigs. Citrus peels steeped in vinegar create powerful natural cleaners that replace $15 to $20 worth of commercial products monthly. Avocado pits release natural dyes for textiles, while their skins provide oil-rich hand treatments. Coffee grounds become scouring powder, natural deodorizers, and pest deterrents around garden perimeters. Implementing even partial zero-waste systems yields substantial economic benefits. Households adopting Indigenous-inspired waste reduction techniques report average savings of $300 to $400 annually through reduced trash service, eliminated cleaning product purchases, and decreased gardening expenses. These savings accompany environmental benefits, including 75 to 80% reductions in household waste reaching landfills. The transition towards zero-waste cooking begins with simple awareness, recognizing potential in items currently discarded without thought. Start by categorizing kitchen waste into potential resource streams rather than automatically discarding them. Establish a simple 3-bin system: compostable items, reusable materials, and a dramatically smaller true waste container. By adopting even a few of these tribal cooking principles, you'll not only save money, but also connect with timeless traditions that sustained human communities for thousands of years. The wisdom of using every part of our food, preserving surplus for leaner times and cooking in harmony with seasonal cycles offers solutions to many modern kitchen challenges.